Naam, barabara kabisa mpenzi mtazamaji, ni siku ya Ijumaa, isharatosha kwamba ni siku ya the football sleep. Sasa hii leo kuna baadhi ya watu ambao tumazo ya kule studio nyingine sijui anafanya nini hapa. Robbie, what are you doing here, man? Sendo, what are you doing here?
Okay, this is what happened.
Yes.
Exactly 1 hour ago, Kenya settled for 1-1 draw against Zimbabwe. Now, this result means that Kenya will not be part of AFCON 2025. It means Zimbabwe and Cameroon have qualified for AFCON 2025 from Group J. Kenya and Namibia will just play a dead rubber match next week, and of course it will be all about balancing who finishes in what position in that group. A disheartening result that we saw from South Africa. Remember, that match was being played in South Africa. Again, Kenya will play Namibia in South Africa. So it has been a very disappointing evening when you talk about the national football team, Harambee Stars. That will form our basis, or rather the basis of our discussion this evening on the football sleep. We'll be getting back to that in a bit. But remember, Cedric Musumba, today we decided to, Cedric Musumba is here. We decided that we come and join watu wa huku chini. Wamekuwa kifail sana. And when somebody fails, you come and give them support. No, I'm just saying.
But that's wrong.
No, I don't. I'm saying the truth.
Who won last week?
Okay,
so you can just say
average.
Ati watu wa mlima imeharibika. Sasa ati tuko.
No. We'll be coming back to that. We'll be coming.
No, bro.
Sedo, how was your week?
I've had a very fantastic week.
Yes.
But it was actually quite spoiled by whatever that has just happened some few hours ago. And it doesn't actually augur well with somebody who has been following football to end up in a weekend in a very sad moment. It quite tells a story of us talking a lot about football, but we are not really promoting it. We are part of the stakeholders, and I think we need to own up our position and try to make Kenya, earmark Kenya in the best space of football in the global arena.
Yes, I know you're wondering why this seat is empty. In a bit, there's a guy that will be joining us from Equatorial Guinea. He had gone for some research, and he is here. Stephen Mkangai, welcome.
Egonga.
Ujambo kaka.
Nashukuru sana.
Ebang.
Engonga.
Young man, how do you?
Equatorial Guinea ilikuwaje? Kaka. Equatorial Guinea.
It's just
jetted back from Equatorial Guinea. But the good thing is Equatorial Guinea have qualified for AFCON 2025. Equatorial Guinea kulikuwaje?
Kuzuri, nimeambiwa nikitaka kuona mbali, niongeza macho. So nafikiri imekuwa benchmarking. Inakuja na ushuhuda ambao nitashare na Wakenya wenzangu. Na hapa nafikiri nitafaidika hata kuanzia kuwapiga picha.
Yes.
So nafikiri hapa kazi tu.
Hapa kazi tu. Call him a bang. Just. Samande, last week you were with us. This week we are together. How's your week?
Easy. But as Sedo said, what a
Kenya's ruined the weekend.
Man. How can we lose the first, I think, 5 minutes? We had a chance.
Not a chance, many chances.
Yeah, you actually had two very good chances.
Yes.
And tukuchukua bana.
We'll be getting back to that. Now, there are gentlemen that, of course, you are wondering where they are today. That is Rogers Shtemi. Of course, he's not feeling well. That is why he could not be here with us. And Daniel Kariuki, he went to the gym in the morning, but he realized that is not where he belongs. So he said that we should give him some time to rest and recuperate. He will be with us next week. So sijui alienda kubeba nini. But of course, we wish him well. Daniel Kariuki, beba weight yako. Sibebe weight ya watu wengine.
Tumeenda kubeba mlima.
Mlima, uwezi beba. We'll be coming back to that next week. So, Hassan Juma, allow me to recap the week that has been when you talk about football. And we begin with one man that has been the talk of town the entire week. Who am I talking about? Amorim. He took over the height of Manchester United, and of course, everybody's talking about him. He's a very young guy, and he's taking over one of the biggest clubs in the world. Cedric Musumba, this is a very big job for Amorim. He's coming from Sporting Lisbon, but Manchester United is not Sporting Lisbon.
He actually has accepted to carry a burden, the burden that has not necessarily been offloaded by many experienced coaches. Remember, we had the likes of Ten Hag coming in from Ajax, which again, it has been actually a product of so many players that are really tormenting teams in the European football.
Yes.
But again, at Manchester United, it has been quite a kind of a tussle order for him to earmark the space that Ferguson actually left. I think here Amorim is really coming in to the very in aspects of Lisbon really performing well at Portuguese league. But and again, the Manchester United permutation at the EPL does not necessarily end at the pitch. Remember, this is a team that is really guided by so many angles. Fans here that we are seated around in, they really have their share value when it comes to Manchester United. They have their own lineups. We have also the essence of coaches outside there, not really necessarily coaches, but media outside there and in England that really commands that space of Manchester United. So he has so many things actually to guide himself and ensure that Manchester United is back to the road and really producing results that each and every person is really yearning for.
Yes, Papa Mkangai, this week, Gor Mahia parted ways with their coach, that is Leonardo Leiva. Tumeona for the last 2 games, 3 games wamekuwa kiingia uwanjani because the results are not going their way. So akasema this man is not the right man for the job. What do you have to say?
Nafikiri kile ambavyo wamefanya Gor Mahia ni wametibu dalili si ugonjwa. Ukiangalia ni dalili wametibu si ugonjwa. Ukiangalia Gor Mahia mfano Mathare na AFC Leopards, kuna wachezaji wa Mathare wamekwenda kucheza tournament ya huko mashinani. Wakapigwa ban na pia bila mshahara, same to Leopards. Lakini Gor Mahia kuna wachezaji ambao wameenda kucheza. Lakini bado wako pale wameachiliwa. So discipline iko na issue. Alafu tu coach inasemekana alikuwa na issue na some players na mtu kama Rono Nyanga wako nasikizana.
But Rooney tumemwona akicheza leo, amecheza tu vizuri.
Hapana, kucheza vizuri. Rooney kwanza amechangia. Ilikuwa nafasi moja akatoa mpira ambao tungefunga bao. So nafikiri ukisema alicheza vizuri kwa na mpira aina gani. So nafikiri coach kumtoa ni kwamba Gor Mahia mazoea kushinda. Watafuta coach mwingine. Ziko nikaiteka pamoja na msaidizi wake. Mechi ya kwanza ni derby. Wana bahati na kukutana na mnyonge. Wangepata timu ambayo iko serious. Wangepigwa bado. So nafikiri kufuata coach bado kuna issue, lakini disciplined players wa Gor Mahia.
Disciplined players wa Gor Mahia. Now, aside from that, one thing that has been happening this week, as 2 days ago, yesterday, it was all about the FKF elections. Hassan Juma, everybody's talking about the branch elections. And Cedric, I want your input on this. FKF elections, it was all about branches. Are you, or rather what you've seen during this week, are you happy the way the elections were conducted? I know you've listened to different candidates that were vying for different seats talk. Were you happy?
To me, you know, it looks like a predetermined affairs, because the excitement does not really necessarily land to any other fan that will want to see Kenya really faring on if it comes to these soccer stakeholders. But then again, if you see how these elections are really being conducted, the excitement is at the upper epitome level. Those people who are yearning for the big seats, like the presidential candidates, are the ones who are really focused on who candidate is coming on board, because these are the really delegates that will put them into position. So as to think about football, they need to really start at that particular grassroots. And these delegates who are coming from the grassroots level, they should actually be bringing the aspect of how they can really turn around their academia that really supplies the so-called soccer fraternity to the national level and start getting the result. But that has not really been coming out. The kind of candidates who are really coming in, and if you may ask me, it's more of politics than the soccer we would want to expect. People who are coming in are politicians than the soccer.
So what kind of candidates would you want to see?
I want to see somebody actually who carries the magnitude of the soccer that we are looking for in this particular nation. Not somebody who really comes to the aspect of, I will do this, I will do that, and I will do that. Somebody who comes to that, I have done this. And this is the platform that has made me to grow to this particular
The reason I ask you this is because, of course, candidates were clear, right?
Yes.
We know the guys who are vying for the top seat, the presidency, the president. We know the guys who are vying for the deputy president. Is there, you know, a particular person or individuals that you feel that they can add some value to?
It shouldn't necessarily be a particular person, but there are aspects that every Kenyan football fan is looking for at, and they want those achieved.
Or maybe you flip it the other way around and say,
no.
There's an aspect that you feel like
yes,
I've not been addressed.
We can't tell Cedric to give us his preferred candidate.
Not really.
That means that we are supporting someone.
Not really.
And that is not what we are doing.
Not really.
That's not what we are doing. We want Cedric to give us issues. It's all about issues.
No, exactly. I'm not talking about the candidates, but are there issues that you feel that should be addressed by some of these candidates?
True, Hassan. I really
without necessarily talking about the candidates.
Thank you. And I think, Hassan, 12 years ago, all of us, we are alive to the things that were happening in Kenya. I really adore the kind of football that was put in place in 2012 in this nation of ours. That's when Kenya actually tried as much as it can to resurrect the so-called soccer. And then 4 years later, we saw it now really happening under the banner of Supersport, the so-called TV rights. Who is really bringing these rights that can really make this club start sprouting? And you see, when the rights comes with a good sponsorship, these players that we normally look for results, they will start getting their pay on time. They will start getting their allowances that they really earn for healthy. You go to a pitch, a player puts himself or supports himself in the pitch, knowing that if I go slide on that grass and get an injury, I will be catered for. Currently, anyone who is in that particular pitch as in the name of a player, he's playing knowing that I have a family and I can't take that risk of sliding. Even in South Africa, you saw tackles that Omuro was bringing in. Omuro was kindly bringing in those kind of cut tackles, knowing that the club he's trading for, which is not in Kenya, will cater for if he happens to pick up an injury, because they fairly release him to go and trade for the national team. That has not been happening with our club. All our players, they play knowing that if I pick up an injury, it's the end of my life. So they are so guarded and they're so scared of taking those chances for their national team.
We'll come back to that. Now, let's take a look at other moments of this week. Daktari, nitakupita hii, wacha tuende kwa Samande. David Kut this week.
Dr. Waiti.
Tunaongea huyu daktari naona
Engonga,
daktari Ebang. Samande, David Kut has been making headlines this week because there was a video, of course, after the completion of last week's match day, a video surfaced online of him talking about Jurgen Klopp, talking about Liverpool, and after that,
Robertson?
of course,
Robertson?
yes,
Liverpool,
Robertson. Basically, some of the Liverpool players, and he's been suspended by PGM Oil. So, what did you make of his remarks? And should he have been suspended? Because when you look at the suspension, it's all about the video. It's not about how he conducts himself on the pitch.
Yeah, I think the suspension is okay. As referees, they are looked at so much because you're not supposed to be inclined to a team. However much you love a team, you're not supposed to actually outright show it. But for him, he was actually outright showing it in the video that he hates Liverpool.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is not wanted for any referee. So at a kwa match, people will see that he's biased against Liverpool.
Kwa game hajakuwa biased.
But you never know. You never know.
Tumeona calls zake zimekuwa fit.
Yeah, but
that's only one call, that game between Manchester City and Liverpool, where he sent off Sadio Mane, and that was way back.
But it's told when you are at your high point, unanielewa. You tend to reveal everything that is from your heart.
You remember Robbie mechi ambayo analishika mpira Odegaard Liverpool.
Yes.
Akaachia.
Alikuwa ref.
Robbie.
Yes.
Bro, you know, let's tell
Sedo. Is this a case of the Premier League trying to redeem themselves because there's been a lot of questionable calls in the Premier League vis-a-vis other leagues? Remember Champions League, where we had Aston Villa against Club Brugge, and then Tyrone Mings akashika ball, it was a penalty. And everybody was wondering, why is it a penalty? When we saw it in a different game yenye Arsenal player alishika mpira, and it was, you know, the referee said it's a silly mistake, but it was in the Champions League. Those two games were in the Champions League, but there have been lots of calls for improvement in officiating in the Premier League.
You see, there's another aspect of soccer evolution, and every aspect of soccer actually gives precedent for another action to be taken. Like the example that we have just given in Arsenal game, that was a clear penalty. We had some different kind of angles of arguments.
They were actually playing Bayern Munich in the Champions League.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it was a crucial game that would actually have eliminated Arsenal at home, leave alone even giving them a chance away. But it did not stand by that particular time. That presidency, I know it was discussed around, and it gave a part of what actually Tyra Ming was being penalized for. That means it has actually marked the space of that. If you do such kind of a mistake, it has become to be a form normal of penalty. And in this case, just as we have said, this is a set-up example, is, I might say, a sacrificial kind of lamb for all other refs who have been actually showing some kind of glimpse, kind of reaction. Remember, we have an EPL kind of rule that say that each and every referee should declare the team that they support. Him, he does not support Liverpool. He supports Nottingham Forest. So if he was to pull such instance under Nottingham Forest, it would have been actually quite understandable to anyone. He was doing it in Liverpool, which means no one should stand a chance of penalizing him if at all the investigation has not come on for. And what the PL is telling us, they are telling us that this case is still under investigation. He has actually been suspended upon maybe being vindicated if the investigation doesn't go the EPL kind of allegations.
Sedo, you know, I'm bothered by
David Coot.
No, I'm actually supporting in a way. Why? Because why would the EPL sacrifice one of their top referees?
Yes.
This guy, I was trying to do my research.
Remember, he refed in the Euro.
Yes.
And he's refed in the Champions League.
And he's done so much, you know, like in terms of, they say, oh, he's snorting stuff, white stuff, and all that. But when you look at his officiating, it's been top notch. Why would they want to sacrifice one of their top referees?
But Hassan,
gentlemen.
Robbie, just a minute.
Yes.
We have had this referee here, those kind of, let's say, silly calls. And even from Manchester United, the Arsenal, they were flying all over. And you see, EPL is a commercial league that is looking for money.
Yes.
The only way EPL can redeem itself, if you ask me, and that's my own opinion, is to pick such kind of one person that can serve as an example, so that it can be seen in actually commercial value that we are doing it. We are doing it right.
The top referee in the EPL is Anthony Taylor. Kangai, umeshika nini? Oh. Let's move on to other moments that, of course, highlighted this week. Aside from David Coot, we take a look at other moments that highlighted the week. And we have England. They got a 3-0 win yesterday. Of course, 8 players pulled out of the squad. But, of course, that gave an opportunity to other players to shine. Let's move on from England. We take a look at the other players that have been making headlines this week. Kangai, Daktari, Neymar has said that if he had a chance, he could have come to England and play for 3 clubs. Of course, there's Manchester United, there's Arsenal. If you were the coach, or rather as a football fan, a football analyst, a football pundit, which team do you think he could have gone to?
Ile jina la coach nataka ulitoa kwanza, familia inaangalia. Wanafikiri kwamba Engonga amekuwa role model. So
no, nimesema coach.
Mfano.
Coach.
Kama unakuja coach watu wengine.
Okay, this is how Kangai introduces himself.
Coach wa Shauri Moyo. Lakini umetoa Engonga.
Coach wa Shauri Moyo. Ingote all time top scorer. Ebang Engonga.
Wajua nimeka mitego kila kona. So kila ambacho unazungumza nikipata last week. But anyway, ni kijana ambao ungependa kumuona sana EPL, sana Man United, kwa sababu yumpata kocha ambaye sasa anajua mpira. Nafikiri amekuja kumaliza dominance ya EPL pale juu, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool top 4. So ningependa kumuona kule United. Apart from United, maybe Arsenal hata Chelsea, lakini time yake nafikiri pia imeisha. Ukiangalia ile madoido mbwembwe aje tu ile pension, lakini EPL ningependa kumwona United.
Yes, let's move on from Neymar. Let's get to Paul Pogba. Yes, of course, this week Juventus came out saying that, of course, they're working to terminate the contract of Paul Pogba, who had his ban, of course, come to an end. And Monday, Pogba, there are talks that he's going to Marseille. But do you think he will perform at the highest level the way he used to perform when he was at Manchester United and, of course, at the old lady, that is Juventus?
I think for Pogba, he should just go to Saudi. Aende tu aunde pesa yake.
Arab money.
Arab money, aunde pesa yake because his time is done. With all his scandals and everything, his time is done. Aende tu Saudi, aunde pesa yake, aende home.
Pia fanya movies. Yeah. Let's move on from Pogba. Let's take a look at other moments making headlines this week. Uganda qualified for the African Cup of Nations 2025. Kenya, Koinje, will be watching Uganda in Morocco in 2025. Very disheartening. Sedo, briefly, please make it brief.
You know, you are limiting me. Please, there's a lot.
10 seconds.
There's a lot actually to pick from Uganda, given from 2019 what it really does for us. Remember them playing against Egypt. It was a glimpse, kind of an equally good team from East Africa that could challenge another African country. And it comes this time round, they are qualifying at the eve of them hosting Africa Cup of Nations come 2027. It tells us a story that the other three nations in East Africa, they're just jokers.
Sedo, these guys are your hosts. You know Harambee Stars is being hosted by Uganda. So, I mean, how do you qualify? You don't have even a pitch.
Let them continue hosting Kenya. But we move on to the other top moment from this week in football, where we have the biggest games this coming weekend. Italy will be taking on France, a massive game that we'll be looking forward to. Now, aside from this, we have another massive game that will see Croatia take on Portugal. We are looking forward to these two games. They will be played on Monday. Of course, it's a clash of the Titans. Now, that is all about some of the top moments from the week that has just come to an end, and of course the games that we are looking forward to this week. Now, let's take a look at last week's results. Remember, we had given our predictions, but these are results from last week. FC Leopards settled for 1-1 draw against Mara Sugar. Shabana got their first win of the season against Kenya Police. 1-0 was the final score. Bandari got a 2-0 win against Bidco United. Brentford got a 3-2 win against FC Bournemouth. Brighton 2-1 win against Manchester City. Chelsea settled for 1-1 draw against Arsenal. Juventus, the old lady, with a 2-0 win against Torino. Inter got a 1-1 draw against Napoli. Stuttgart lost 2-3 to Frankfurt. And Real Sociedad gave Barcelona their second loss of the season, and that was a 1-0 win, of course, in La Liga. Now, let's take a look at our slips from last week. Of course, these are my results. I managed to get 8 out of 10. Yes, you know, shine boy, bright boy. I am the one. Now, 8 out of 10. Let's take a look at how Kariuki performed. Baada ya kwenda gym, tuangalie results za Kariuki. He got 7 out of 10. He's still, you know, he's still struggling, but you have to understand that prediction is not easy. Yes, Hassan, tumekuja kupiga jeki, you got 8 out of 10. So it means that, you know, unajaribu.
2 weeks in a row, bro.
2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row. Last week kupata 8.
No, but last week you lead.
Kupata 7.
But you lead.
Hey.
Ulipata G5.
So, yeah,
2 weeks in a...
As the Swahili saying goes, maskini akipata matako uliambwata.
Matako gani meliambwata?
Yes, these are the results, of course, from last week. So, this week's slip, how does it look like? Let's take a look at this week's slip, where we have Ethiopia will be taking on Tanzania, Guinea will be facing DR Congo, Libya will be at home taking on Benin, Sudan will be facing Angola, Kenya host Namibia in South Africa, Turkey take on Wales, Netherlands face Hungary, Sweden take on Slovakia, Austria take on Slovenia, Italy will be facing France. That is this week's slip. Now, let's get to our major topic of discussion this evening. It's all about the national football team, Harambee Stars. Before we give you our predictions for the weekend, the national football team, Harambee Stars, they were playing Zimbabwe away in South Africa. The result was 1-1, which means Kenya will not be taking part in AFCON 2025 that will be held in Morocco. Now, before even we get into this discussion, Dennis, I want us to take a look at teams that have qualified for AFCON 2025. We have a number of teams that have qualified for AFCON 2025. Dennis, let me quickly run through that because we have Morocco, who are the hosts. They automatically qualified. Algeria, Angola, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, these have already qualified. Let's take a look at the other teams that have qualified for that continental showpiece. DR Congo, Egypt, Equatorial Guinea, where Mkanga is coming from, Gabon, Ivory Coast have already qualified. And then we take a look at the other 8 teams that have also qualified. Nigeria, Senegal, South Africa, Tunisia. Now, Tunisia has qualified for AFCON 2025. Now, this will be the 17th time they are qualifying for that tournament, which is a record. No other African country has qualified for AFCON 17 times. And then you have Uganda, of course, in that pool of teams that have qualified. And today, we already have Zimbabwe as one of the teams that have qualified. So, Dennis, let's get into our conversation this afternoon. Hassan, we were watching this game between Harambee Stars and Zimbabwe in South Africa. I mean, we should have won that game.
Yeah. I think we controlled the match, right? We played so well. We fluffed our chances. We had so many chances, but I think our strikers were unable to convert those chances. But I'm not worried. I think even before the qualifiers, even before the qualifiers, I was bothered by the fact that we don't even have a pitch to host AFCON qualifiers. Yeah, not World Cup qualifiers, AFCON qualifiers. So you are playing your matches away, your home matches away in Uganda. I mean, that was my first red flag, right? We played well today, but it's taken so long for us to progress to where we are. Tumecheza vizuri, mchuano wa mwisho, game ya mwisho ambayo inafaa kuwa determinant factor. Unaona? That bothers me. Tuko na Kasarani, tuko na Nyayo. Every government inaingia, wanasema wanatengeneza Nyayo, wanatengeneza Kasarani. Lakini ukiangalia some of these small countries, including the country umekuwa, Equatorial Guinea is not bigger than Kenya. Lakini wako na uwanja. Wako na uwanja, wamehost AFCON. Lakini sisi, even with the economical and political power, hatuja qualify.
Are we blaming the pitch?
No, I'm not blaming the pitch, but I'm blaming the fact that we're even unable to host our home matches at home. You're playing your home matches in Uganda.
Samande.
You are cast from the word
as
go.
A Kenyan fan, how does this make you feel? The last time we played in Africa Cup of Nations was in 2019.
Disappointing. Disappointing. As Hassan said, the fact that we don't even have a pitch.
Let's not blame the pitch. Let's take the pitch out of this.
The pitch out of the story.
Let's take the pitch out of this.
As of now, when the coach came in, we started saying he's a coach that he has no accolades, he has nothing. But you can see on the pitch, he has done a lot. He has created a team that is actually, you can see, is competing. But the team is disappointing.
Mkanga is laughing.
I know. What I'm saying.
Competing for what?
Listen.
Hassan, we've played in a lot of tournaments.
We've played in a lot of tournaments, as Robbie said.
How have we performed in these tournaments?
At the end of the day, the team itself is very disappointing. Like I said, it's very disappointing.
Does it boil down to tactics?
There's an element of that. I mean,
there's an element. I think maybe the coach needs to, I don't know if he understand the players or maybe it's a disappointment.
In today's starting 11, we had only 2 players that play in, actually not 2.
1.
Okay, at most 2 that play in the Football Kenya Federation Premier League.
Yeah.
Aside from the goalkeeper, that is Brian. Sedo, I think Brian is the only person that is the only player that plays in the local league. And Rooney too. Only
so my take is the time that Kenya really performed well, even going to AFCON, is when we fielded the players that are playing at KPL.
No.
But that team was half and half.
Yes. But we
half.
had more players from KPL.
Yes, it was 6 from the KPL, 6 from.
Thank you.
Because we watched that Africa Cup of Nations 2019, and you could say, the likes that time Matasi was playing in Ethiopia. We had a number of players that were playing in the local league, and we had a number of players that had experience playing away. Now, Mkangai, the biggest question from today's 1-1 draw is, does Firat have his tactics right, rather?
Waswahili wanasema kwamba tawi kavu kuamka si ajabu. Kwa hivyo Kenya kutoqualify sio mbona tunalalamika watoki too much.
Mkangai, hii ni mechi ambayo umetangaza.
Nimekuwepo studio.
Hii ni mechi ambayo umetangaza. Tulikuwa na chances, we can't convert those chances. It's very heartbreaking.
But kile chance tumekuwa nani moja tu ile Ayunga alipiga mpira juu.
Tulikuwa na chances nyingi.
A lot of chances.
Lakini hazikuwa clear chance ambazo
Okay, yes, nakubaliana nawe, they were not clear cut. But the problem was tukifika kwa box idea hakuna.
Tuna convert.
I think Robbie.
Sorry Mkangai. Robbie, kabla tufungwe. Before Zimbabwe scored their goal, what happened?
Oyunga alikuwa na
chance Oyunga.
Si ndio post.
Okay, weka mpira huko, weka mpira.
Si ndio? Tusidanganya.
Mpira ndio hiyo. Funga.
Alikat from this end, right? Amekuja akachenga akakuja hapa, si ndio? Amekuja akapura, right?
Convert.
Kuconvert rugby. The goalkeeper akachukua bro, akaanza. Kwanza tutafungwa.
Runo Nyanga.
Talk is cheap.
Talk
is cheap.
Robbie.
Okay, you will score from that. We'll wait up. Yes, Mkangai.
Nafikiri two things za kuongelewa. Wakati Ateta akiingia Arsenal alisema kwamba kuna disconnect between fans na team. National team ukienda social media inaitwa timu ya eneo moja. Kabila fulani ati hiyo kama ni fulani FC. Yani kuna disconnect, mashabiki hawako part of the team.
Yes.
Tumeangalia tunakuwa Uganda tuko na mashabiki uwanjani. Angalia Zimbabwe, mashabiki kwa South Africa wengi kushabikia timu yao. So ile disconnect imekuwa hapa na mashabiki na again federation ile AFCON 2019 Minye Sebastian amefanya kazi kubwa sana. Wewe ndio kocha akibaki Kenya.
So nafikiri shida ni statistics za Engin Firat tumecheza 23 games.
Wewe umekuja kufanya scouting?
It talks a lot bana.
I'm giving you the statistics.
Okay.
23 games. We've had 7 wins.
Friendlies.
No, 7 wins. Friendlies. I mean games zote 7 wins. 9 draws. How many losses? I think 5. Yes.
Nafikiri nampa out of 10 nampa 2. Huyu kocha amekuja kufanya biashara ya Kenya, kuangalia place you scout anatoa nje. So nafikiri Kenya inataka coach ambaye ataleta ile connection kati ya players na mashabiki. Na ukipata even social media andika tuulize
Mkangai, connection ya players na mashabiki ni timu ianze kushinda.
That
is the only connection.
Ndio coach.
Huyu ni coach mbwatukaji tu.
Robbie
tuka sana.
No, Robbie anabwatuka. So Firat.
At least leo unaona. Cedric. Well, we are talking about this. I want us to finish this conversation on Harambee Stars. Where is the problem? Is it the coach? Is it the players? Is it the pitch? Is it the venue? I mean, where
is it? The federation?
Is it the federation?
Is it the government?
Yes. Where is the problem with the Harambee Stars? Because Sedo, when I remember we had this discussion way back when that pool came out, it was Harambee Stars, Cameroon, Zimbabwe, Namibia. And we were pretty sure the only team that was going to beat Kenya was Cameroon. Kenya, on paper, Kenya was going to finish second. But now, we might as well as finish third or even fourth.
You know, Robbie, when you throw a topic of Harambee Stars vis-a-vis qualification and whatever matters soccer, you literally tell me maybe to take over the show and maybe run it down until to the tail end, simply because of the angles that this team presents. Sometimes it boils hot, at some moment it goes down to cold. And again, as you have said, there are so many things that actually has really affected Harambee Stars and make Harambee Stars not to be where it is currently. One, I might not go to the issue of the field because it was levelly playing in the same space with the other team that were playing away from home. Remember, Zimbabwe also played away from home and has qualified.
Sedo,
The same thing with
I want to interrupt you because a bang wants to leave us because on the other side,
Yes, 6 minutes though.
but he has to go
6
and
minutes.
prepare. So let's just leave him. Let's just
Division.
ondoke. Then we continue this conversation. I know we'll also have time yenye tutaongelea Harambee after we've finished the qualification process. That is after the game against Namibia. Yes.
Where does he want to live? Maybe.
Anaenda kutangaza mechi
Denmark, Spain.
labda anatoka kwa sababu amekasirika na ukisikia
no akona ball anaweza enda. Yes. Yes. Thank you very much. Of course, Mkangai will be seeing you again next weekend. Cedric, let's continue with this conversation. You said this is something that gets emotional, and it's something that we can talk about. And of course, at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, were we really, really ready for these qualifiers?
The issue of Kenya not having a well FIFA ratified pitch actually to trade their games back at home should not pop up. Reason being Zimbabwe has qualified and has been playing away from home.
They have been playing
and
South
it has
Africa.
qualified. That is an issue that actually we sweep under the carpet and we forget about it.
Yes.
What actually has made Kenya, according to my own opinion, not to qualify, one is the inconsistency. This coach of ours actually does not have the first 11. And again, as we had our first 11 before even the start of this particular qualification, we know a team that could give us results, a team that went to Iran and picked some points, a team that played against Russia in our friendly and gave us points. That has not the team that has been playing for Kenya. Today, you are talking about 65% possession. But who are these that play? They're the team that we have been yearning for to come back and play for us. In the back four, remember Anyembe trading for number 2. That has been actually our wish, but has not been the cause of Indian fielding him. At some moment, he was actually pulling Anyembe to play as a center back, which has not been his natural position of playing. We have also been yearning of this consistency all along to continue in this particular. That has not been coming. Today, you give us a
we
team.
actually had our best squad.
Exactly, and if that was the
control
team,
the match.
if that, and even today still in that particular lineup, I still felt like in our defensive midfield was not the best. Akumu has never played with Amos Enondi in that particular position. Amos Enondi was a foreign body in that particular defensive line, as in the defensive midfield.
Yes.
And again, if you look at the
We've
goal,
normally seen Akumu with Odada.
the goal that we conceded, Robbie, if you are so it came in the position that Nondi could have sealed because he's a defensive midfielder. He couldn't have given that too much spaces for that ball to come in that particular position. That was not the case. I tell you for free, and I will agree with somebody if he happens to tell me that the tactics of our coach has messed us a lot and has made us not to really qualify for Africa Cup of Nations. One is the tactical approach of this particular team. The team that we needed to beat are the team that has been picking point from us. Remember, Zimbabwe is coming from a ban, a FIFA ban.
Yes.
It's not a team that has been had a space to assemble their team. But when FIFA actually uplifted their ban, they have come actually to trade and dance with the Kenya. They have qualified to Africa Cup of Nations at the expense of a team that has got all whatever that is required to qualify.
Yes.
The team that the likes of Namibia was to cede their 6 points to Kenya, and then we go away. Maybe if Zimbabwe was to pick a point from Kenya, it could have been this 1 point that they have picked today. Then Cameroon were to frustrate Cameroon maybe with a draw and lose either 4 points to them. That was not the case. It boils down to the tactical approach of these particular matches. And if we continue like this, if we could, even in Africa Cup of Nations that we are really working hard to host in 2027,
yes,
it will be a kind of a disappointment. Look at Uganda. Uganda, when they realized that Micho was not giving them results, they actually allowed Micho to ceremoniously leave the country. They reassembled the team. They left the likes of Aucho, who actually were in the Uganda of 2019 in Egypt, to reassemble the team and bring that leadership. Currently, as we speak, they are celebrating. They will be in Morocco. Kenya, who have had an avenue of working together for all those long years, it's not actually gracing 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. And then again, it also connects to an essence to the federation itself. Let's not be bringing in people who have got their own interests. We are actually bringing in agents to sell players cheaply outside. They are not selling quality players that can bring materials to Kenya. They are looking for a trade to enrich their pockets. These players that we hear Kenya has sold here, Kenya has sold, they are being sold in average leagues that by the time they mature, they are maturing at the age of 28, maybe to grace few like 2-3 years for better league, and then they retire. We need player to be sold at the tender age at 19, 18, so as to come back at 20 and 22 to give us value. That has not been the case of Kenya. At any given time, we talk of a good, matured player. We talk at a player who has actually graced at the age of 26 or 28. When he's about to retire, right now, who are the best player that we have currently? They're 26 years old. We are talking of Joseph Okumu, who, and again, was withdrawn today. Maybe he was playing with an injury. We don't know. Because I remember him actually being withdrawn and introducing Duke Abuya, which, and again, disorganized the permutation, because Abuya is not a defender. When you pull out your strong defender,
not a defensive midfielder,
and you bring in an offensive player, it means you are weakening the defense, which means each and every time, balls, when they fall back, these people will not have an urge and urges and ideas to really bring a wall that is required for you to advance and supply those balls up front. That's why in each and every time you'll see Olunga actually drifting back to midfield to collect those balls. Duke Abuya, who was introduced to supply balls to Olunga, he was drifting back to our possession that we have commanded in this game, taken my time 90 minutes to watch this game, was actually at the center of that pitch. Up front, we were totally blunt. We were totally blunt. We couldn't actually create a threatening kind of chances that will give Harambee Stars win.
Unfortunately for me, I think today was one of the best matches for Harambee Stars in these qualifiers. Ukiangalia hizi games zingine tulikuwa hatuko.
No, you see why you have had a privilege of being a free. You see why you have enjoyed it, because they have given you ball that actually entice your eyes. The possession soccer, they possessed. That's why they commanded 65%. And you see what possession soccer does? It's beauty. They were not offensive moving forward.
Of course, we lost so many chances hapo mbele.
Because their strikers will drift back. You know, we played with the two strikers, two number 9.
Our captain was not in this match.
And you see why? Who was playing behind Olunga? Olunga was Ayunga, right? Who is Ayunga? Ayunga is typically number 9.
Sedo is saying that for a very long time, today is when we saw Harambee Stars playing some good football. Yeah. Do you agree? Because we had our best squad.
Yeah, 60% I agree. But where we failed is we had a lot of set pieces. You could see how we were taking our set pieces.
Yes, but Eric Ouma alikuwa
you have 2 consecutive set pieces in a span of 5 minutes.
Yes.
And what do?
No connection.
Unapiga past all the players. You get again another one. After 5 minutes, you do the same thing. So I was wondering, what are we? Is that what we are taught in the pitch to do?
But Samande, look at that formation. Who was taking those set pieces? Was Eric Ouma, right? Who was to play behind Eric Ouma was Aboud Omar. If you go by the natural play of Eric Ouma actually should be playing behind Aboud Omar. Because the natural number 3.
We are talking about set pieces.
It's set pieces.
Now, let me tell you, Sedo, where the contrast is. You get a corner, Eric Ouma overheats it. You get a corner on the other side, Anyembe places it on the center. Very, very big contrast. Yeah. But I know this conversation, when you talk about Harambee Stars, will not end today. So right about now, I want Hassan Juma to give us a prediction of his failures next week. Tupe failures zako next week.
Failures? Sasa failures imetoka wapi?
How you will fail next week?
So hii Harambee Stars kwanza. Show iko tops. Leo Robi lazima ajue tutaishiaje. Sikia? Mkangai nitapambana na yeye kwa dadana uwanjani Radio Maisha kesho. Wewe ni mtu mdogo sana. Robi.
Who's that?
Mrema.
Modo Mrema.
Jamaa alienda kupiga gym na ajui. Hizi vitu huwa hazikuji hivyo.
So guys, these are my predictions. Ethiopia so hii hapa sijui ni change.
Check, tuanze tu na Ethiopia. Usiende tu kwa Kenya na Libya. Tuende tu kwa Ethiopia. Ethiopia TZ.
Ethiopia itashinda ama Tanzania. Sedo, just what do you make of my sleep?
You're not even sure.
No, I'm sure. This is, I mean, come on. This is a 7+.
Oh, you are sure of your
7 and above.
You are sure of your failures?
Out of 10. 7 and above out of 10. Robbie, I haven't even asked you. Sedo, what do you make of my sleep? Seriously,
no. Even before look at your sleep, you have been trading between 7 and
No,
6.
no, 7 and 5.
No, but you can't say
No,
7.
7. But he has actually had some
Resurgence.
advently kind of improvement, and that's how good students actually becomes an A students in the classroom setup. They start by actually accumulating some points, and then they realize their goal, they start hitting A's. I go by your prediction. First, you need to remember that Tanzania, they are really surging. Also, they are still have an equally chances of qualifying for Africa Cup of Nations.
Yes.
No matter how much they played against.
I'm not looking at a draw here. One of them is going to win.
Yeah, exactly,
one or two.
Exactly. But Ethiopia will be playing at home, and a draw that you have overlooked might come to stand. That's what I might say. Congo, Guinea. DR Congo, DR Congo, they have already qualified, and we have seen what teams that have qualified, what they are doing. They actually withdrawing their stars, like what Cameroon did.
Even Algeria.
Yes, those are kind of things that we need actually to consider.
There could be a 1-1.
Yeah, when we are really Libya, Libya, Benin. Libya is not a pushover, regardless of what is going around their country.
They could score 2 goals.
It has never been a pushover, and I saw them actually really playing. It's a team that can result to goal, and I would have really say that maybe Libya might end up winning this particular.
They could
game.
win 2-1, right?
Yeah,
or even nil-nil.
No, a win over 1.5. Thank you.
So Sudan, Angola, Sudan only need a point.
Yes.
Angola have already qualified.
To qualify, they're playing against Ghana.
Angola have qualified.
Yeah, they have qualified, but they're playing today against, I think today against Ghana. And it's a game that Ghana really
has to win.
Has to win, yeah. So as to say, whatever that is happening in Sudan, Sudan might end up frustrating Angola for a draw.
A draw.
Yes.
A
draw can work for
a draw.
2-2.
I don't know goals.
0-0?
I'm
not asking you.
I know a draw.
Under 3.5?
A draw can qualify. A dead rubber game, I think. Kenya versus Namibia. It can go either side. Because the Kenya's players don't think if they will give their thumb of their push. Some of them, they will be flying all the way from South Africa back to their clubs. I don't think if they will be coming here, because here in Kenya, no one is happy with them. So as Kenya might end up even losing. You never know. Yeah.
Sedo, hold it there. Of course, Hassan has said Turkey Wales is a goal. Netherlands, Hungary, Netherlands to win. Sweden, Slovakia, it's Sweden or a draw. Austria, Slovenia, either way. And Italy, France over 1.5. Now, I want us to go to Kariuki's sleep.
The gym guy.
Yeah, the gym guy. Jamaa wa unajua. Hapa. Yes. And Samande will break it down. We'll break down Kariuki's sleep. Ethiopia TZ amesema TZ ama draw. Guinea Congo amesema over 1.5. Libya Benin under 4.5.
Hapo what is this? Kariuki under 4.5.
Samande.
That is the safest of the safest.
Siangeka basi under 6.5.
Of course, amesema Libya Benin under 4.5. Sudan Angola 1-2. Kenya Namibia 1-2. Turkey Wales 1. Now let's take Samande. Your thoughts on Netherlands versus Hungary? Amesema Netherlands to win ama draw. And then of course Sweden Slovakia goal. Austria Slovenia over 1.5. Italy France over 1.5. Izo team in there. Netherlands, Sweden, Austria, Italy. To break it down for us.
This one I think is okay. Netherlands, Hungary. Of course, Netherlands will go through. Sweden, Slovakia. That can be a goal.
That's a very tough game.
It's a tough game, but inaenda hiyo goal iko sawa. It's a safe bet.
Could be a barren draw anyway.
Austria over 1.5, tricky. I would have given Austria. Straight
Austria
on.
win.
Yeah, because hii inaweza enda bao moja tu.
Okay.
Then Italy, France. France uliona jana na Israel. Mimi nilikuwa nimeweka hata goalless.
Yes.
But Italy on the surge.
Italy walishinda Belgium.
Unaona game ya jana. I would have given but the over 1.5 is
safe.
It's safe. Very
so
safe.
What do you give Kariuki kutoka hizo game zote?
Kama last week.
Gapi?
6.
Bro, janipatia Sedo unanipatia ngapi by the way?
6.
Mimi 6 na jamaa. Mimi under 4.5 tuko same boat aje.
Okay, 7.
Umemhurumia.
No, I will give actually both of them 6. 6/10.
6/10.
Yes.
Haya, wacha tuende kwa master. Deno weka master.
Master gun.
Master, the master is
gun.
here. The lion,
Next
the
week
conqueror, the champion.
Anapata 5.
Check, the lion, the conqueror, the champion is
kuna.
here. Ethiopia versus Tanzania, of course, it will be TZ or a draw. Guinea versus DR Congo. DR have already qualified, but they are not throwing the game away. Libya versus Benin. It's not actually one of the games that out of this slip that gave me a difficult time trying to predict was Libya versus Benin, but I see over 1.5. Why am I saying this? This game is difficult because Libya versus Nigeria, Cedric, you remember, Libya were docked points and Nigeria were given 3 points. Remember when we had that issue where Nigeria players had to spend almost 13 hours at the airport?
Unfair.
Yes. So Libya have to struggle to get points in this game. Sudan versus Angola. Angola have already qualified, and I see Angola or a draw in that, getting a draw in that tie. Kenya versus Namibia. Kenya or draw. Turkey versus Wales. Turkey has been on a good run, so it's a Turkish win or a
Robin,
draw.
it's your sleep. Why can't you just react to your sleep?
Netherlands, I can't react. I'm
No,
telling you.
we want to react to your sleep because you can see we want to react to your sleep. What's wrong with you and exes? X. What's wrong with you and your ex?
I love my exes. Netherlands versus Hungary. It's a Netherlands win or Hungary draw. Sweden, Slovakia. It will be Sweden win or draw. And then Austria versus Slovenia. Of course, they have the man of the Gegenpressing, Austria win or draw, and then Italy versus France. It will be over 1.5. Now, I want us to get into two matches that we are looking forward to this weekend. Dennis, let's begin with Italy versus France. Samande, this is a big game.
Yeah.
And having in mind that, let's go to Italy versus France. This is a match that everybody will be looking forward to, having in mind that Mbappe is not there. What are your expectations in this match?
Italy.
Yes.
Italy win. I've seen the last 3 or 4 games that Italy have played. Actually, playing a very young team nowadays.
Yes.
You remember the Italy of a while back?
Yes.
The 30-something.
Yes.
And the hard knocks defenders. Right now they are playing a very attacking. They are playing a very attacking kind of play, and I don't think France will be able to cope with Italy.
Sedo?
Yesterday, actually, they happened to win, but they were soaking in pressure from Belgium. Belgium, the current setup of Belgium is not a team actually to give you such kind of pressure. I might not say that Italy, it will have an easy ride against France. Also, given the kind of squad that France fielded against Israel. It wasn't equally not their first 11, if you might go. So, if France really need this UEFA Nation Cup, they might really present a different kind of squad that we have not really seen in their previous match. And if it goes like that, it's a kind of fair cage game. It can either go either of the side.
Yes, it can go either side. But remember, the two teams have already qualified for the quarterfinals of the UEFA Nations League. Now, the other big match that will be played on Monday, we'll see Croatia take on Portugal. Sedo, a big one. This is a big fixture.
You know very well that I've actually followed the team. They almost won my heart. But those
that is Croatia.
Yeah, those players that were closer to my heart, they are now literally fading away. The likes of Perisic.
Just say they're aging.
Fading away.
Actually, look at the screen. Both of them are,
But they are also.
But the stars. Funny things, Cedric. The stars of this team are either 38 or 37.
You know the good thing with this team, which people doesn't know.
Both. That is Croatia.
Yes.
The star is
Portugal.
Modric.
Yes.
Is 37.
Yes.
Ronaldo is 39.
But the good thing with these two equally team, they are slowly introducing some young players that people do not associate with. And those players are really bringing in results. So when they do happen to meet, people will still stuck to those aging, as you put it, those stars. But equally, they have some players who come from bench and literally automatically changes the game. And I love watching the two teams play because our eyes are not necessarily on Modric, as people might say, or either Cristiano Ronaldo. People who are come and turn around the game. They are names that like Gonçalo Ramos, names that we are not necessarily associate ourselves with. And those are the kind of secret weapons that this team might be presenting. So when they meet, you cannot necessarily say, as it was previously, that Portugal is going to overrun Croatia,
Yes.
or neither Croatia is going to beat Portugal simply because of the likes of Luka Modric, the Ivan Perisic, Juranovic and Juranovic.
winning this?
Those names are not there.
Who's winning this?
Croatia might win against Portugal.
Samande, briefly,
Yeah.
your expectations on this, and tell us who's winning.
Pretty good match. My take is a draw.
A
For
draw.
the game, yes. It will be a very interesting game, but a draw.
Very interesting game, but a draw.
Yes.
Cedric, Italy, France, who's winning?
Hard to tell, but Italy
Italy
might
will win.
come out smiling.
Robbie,
Samande, who's winning that? Who's winning? Italy, France.
Yeah, Italy.
Robbie,
Anytime.
Yes.
Italy, France. Italy, France is going to win, right?
Siwache hata Samande aseme.
Oh, maliza bro, sorry. Hujamaliza?
Hello, Elizabeth. Italy will
Yes.
win.
Italy will win, yes.
Croatia, Portugal. My last born loves Portugal. So I don't want to disappoint him. But Portugal is going to win. Why? Because they have very enterprising young players. So I'm putting my money on Portugal because of my son Liam.
Well, we don't have a
Sentimental.
liking towards France. So if France is going to beat Italy, and then of course Portugal will get a win against Croatia. Those are predictions for this week. Of course, that is where we wrap up Football Sleep tonight. Thank you very much, Cedric Nsumba. Of course, Makumi Samande. We had a bang. Papa Mkangai, of course, coming and giving his predictions. But that is where we wrap it up here on Football Sleep. My name is Robinson Okenye. Have a good night. Hassan.
This is Football Sleep. Next week, by that, Football Sleep, utakuwa wapi?
Oh, we will be in either Eldoret or Iten.
Oh, good. Mimi ni wako Hassan Juma.